diversity remains golf's biggest challenge. Golf is a rich man's sport, a straightforward way to address the PGA of America's diversity problem. Efforts to make golf more diverse largely haven't worked. These are just a few of the opinions that I can find online when it comes to diversity in golf. One of the main reasons I started this channel was to address the perceptions that I have about golf, and one of the biggest perceptions that I have is that golf isn't diverse. A lot of people have the perception that golf is only for the middle-aged, white, well-to-do, elite man. Now, I'm not sure where that perception comes from, whether it's from the history of golf in the United States, from TV or movies. It does seem to be that all of the antagonists in TVs and movies, at least in the 80s, all seem to be a rich, middle-aged white guy that wants to bulldoze everybody's homes and set up their golf course. Or maybe that's just the theme of Goonies.
I just can't wait until Monday when my father kicks all you trash out in the street where you belong. While you Goonies are piling all your stuff into moving vans, I'll be teeing off on what used to be your front lawn.
So I'm not sure if a lot of that plays into the public's opinion of golf, but for some reason the general public's opinion, at least here in the United States, is that golf isn't diverse, either on the professional level or on the amateur level. So why is that? Where does that perception come from? And is that perception even true? So I owe it to myself to find out if this perception about golf is actually true. So how about we go and take a look? I might need these in a minute. So let's see who plays golf. Let's start at the top, the United States presidents. From Taft to Biden, only 3 of our presidents didn't play golf. Warren G. Harding trained his dogs to retrieve golf balls. FDR, well, his federal funding of public works included dozens of public golf courses. Eisenhower, he had a putting green installed at the White House. Nixon, well, he's the president that removed the putting green from the White House. You've got Reagan, both Bushes. Clinton loved golf, to Obama. Obama, he loved golf so much, he played almost every week. He was criticized for playing too often, and his love of golf is only overshadowed by number 45, Donald J. Trump. He's got golf courses in Scotland, Ireland, the UAE. Oh, and that golf simulator he installed at the White House? Well, he did that only to replace the older golf simulator installed by Obama. Even though I love learning about the history of golf when it comes to presidents, let's be honest, it doesn't do much for the perception that golf is for the middle-aged, elite man. So let's go on to the next topic. No paparazzi, no photos, please. Celebrities. I'm just gonna read this. It's much easier and faster. From big screen actors like Bob Hope, Charlie Chaplin, Harpo Marx, who one day played without his shirt on the front 9 and without his pants on the back 9. From Katharine Hepburn to singers Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Snoop Dogg, to Don Cheadle, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Will Smith, Jack Nicholson, Matthew McConaughey, Jessica Alba, Cameron Diaz, Clint Eastwood, Adam Sandler, Marky Mark, Donnie Wahlberg, and most famously Bill Murray and Kevin Costner. And let's not forget the beloved TV screen actor Alfonso Ribeiro. But I'm still not helping my cause or the perception that golf is only for the rich and the elite, so let's keep exploring. Okay, so maybe it'll help if we look at who plays golf around the world. Let's take a look. Golf courses are found in 82% of the countries on Earth.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Yeah, we don't need to name all of them.
Around 40,000 golf facilities worldwide, and over 30,000 of those being open to the general public. There's around 66.6 million people that play golf worldwide, and America has the largest market. Around 37.5 million people play in the United States. In Europe, 10.6 million people play, and golf is incredibly popular in the East, with around 23.3 million golfers. Japan, having the second largest population of golfers, 8.9 million, and a large market of both golf equipment and golf fashion. Of course, golf is popular in Ireland and Great Britain. It's the home of golf. And is popular in Canada, also New Zealand, and Australia. In Latin America, golf is growing in popularity in both Brazil and Argentina, with Bolivia having the highest tournament class golf course in the world. Africa, with only 2% of the world's golf courses, but with active projects continent-wide to encourage new golfers, it's one of the most golf-developed prone areas in the world. In 2019, it had 932 golf courses, with Nigeria looking to develop 11 more, Kenya 9 more, and Egypt 7 more courses. And of course, many golf champions have come from South Africa. My perception is that golf is for the well-to-do. It's always the preppy, country club, upper class, rich elite people that play golf. Let's be real, golf can be expensive, both as a hobby and on the professional level. One argument that I see often is that historically, golf has only been played by the rich aristocracy. That's wrong. In the beginning, golf was for everybody. Yes, Mary Queen of Scots played golf, but so did the fishwives. During King James' time, they outlawed golf because all of the soldiers were too busy practicing their golf rather than practicing archery. Does that sound like a bunch of middle-aged men playing golf? No, it sounds like a bunch of really attractive soldiers. So where did we get to the point that golf is considered a rich man's sport? Well, back in the 1500s and 1600s, golf was open to anybody that had some golf clubs and a couple of balls. You had the rich elite of the land playing with the lowly average Joes of the land, and everybody just came together for their love of golf. By the 1800s, we began to see the division of the wealth and the privilege in golf. Why? All because of this little. Who would have thought a tiny little thing like this could cause so much trouble? In the beginning, golf clubs were just made out of wood, and the first golf balls were made out of boxwood, affordable for everyone. Then came the feathery. You gotta love that name for a golf ball. It was a leather ball stuffed with feathers. It was 12 times more expensive than the original golf ball, and they were less durable, so you ended up having to use 3 or 4 of them for each round of golf. So in the end, this little thing caused only the wealthy to be able to continue their love of golf. Now, somewhere along the way, we did revert back to golf being an everyman sport. Now, as we learned earlier from Franklin Roosevelt, his public works program helped build public golf courses all across the United States so everybody and anybody could enjoy the game of golf. Now, yes, we are going to see more middle-aged men out on the course because they've been able to climb the ladder of success and make money. It's something for all of us to achieve, to get to middle-aged and be able to have plenty of money to spend on whatever we want. We can't judge them from being able to spend money on golf. But today there's plenty of ways that you can play golf cheaply. I mean, I bought my clubs at a thrift store. You can do discounted twilight times at golf courses. You can choose to maybe not go to the movies. I mean, that's what, $10 a pop for a ticket and then $10 or $15 just to get food for one night out. There's a lot of ways that you can play golf really cheaply now, and so many more people play on public golf courses than private. I think the perception that golf is only for the rich really needs to change because golf today is really for the average Joe. Even though I really wouldn't mind getting into some of those private golf courses just because, want to see what it's like. Anybody out there wants to invite me? Just saying. I judge you pretty hard while I was there, but I do it with love. Let's take a look at how expensive it is just to become a professional golfer. Because one thing I always hear is there's no diversity on the professional side. Well, honestly, I'm surprised anybody plays on the professional side when I found out just how expensive it is to become a professional. You have to pay for your travel, your lodging, your meals, your clothes, your equipment, any fees to get into the tournaments. And you have to do this over and over and over again until you can rack up enough tournaments. And then add to it, if you aren't one of the top winners in the tournament, you don't get any money. You're going home having spent all of your own money and get nothing in return. So many professional golfers can end up going completely broke, skint, nothing. So it's very rare if you can make it to the top and make all of that money. So tell me this. We have an issue with why isn't professional golf more diverse? Why aren't we able to get more youngsters into professional golf? Honestly, it's because I think a lot of people that don't get into professional golf are just smart. Let's look at it this way. A kid getting out of high school, he can either play basketball, football, soccer. Are those the only sports? Basketball, football, soccer, baseball. Okay, basketball. Let's try this again. A kid getting out of school can play what? Basketball, football, soccer, baseball, and they can have a scout come see them, sign a contract, and for their first year have all their expenses paid while probably riding the bench and not even playing. But then a professional golfer has to pay for all of their expenses and could probably go broke before they ever make it into the pros. Which one are you going to pick? I think if you're a smart kid, you're going to go this way because kids know how to leverage their abilities, their success, and make money. I really do think anybody going pro on the golf side is crazy. Okay, now that we're feeling better about the rich issue when it comes to golf, let's check out the age issue when it comes to golf. You know, it's actually the easiest one. I found that anybody of any age can play golf, from a 5-year-old to a 100-year-old. And the great thing about golf is that you can actually go out there and play together as a family, all ages. I mean, unlike other sports where you're really not going to see, a 6-year-old out there on the basketball court dunking on a 90-year-old, now are you? But it's very normal for you to see age ranges differing in groups out there on the golf course. Even Alfonso Ribeiro, he tells stories of taking his young little boy, I think maybe he was 4 at the time, he'd take him out on the course for a quick 9 holes. It's a game that you can play with your kids, with your grandkids, with your grandparents, with pretty much anybody. And as you've seen in Happy Gilmore, Bob Barker can still beat the crap out of Happy Gilmore.
I think you've had enough.
Age does not matter when it comes to the game of golf. Let's take a look at gender, because it's only men that play golf, right? So I've seen a few comments online that say from the very beginning of golf that women were excluded. Wrong again. In the 1800s, there's stories in newspapers of wives out on the golf courses in France and their husbands were their caddies. Now, granted, a little bit later, they did start relegating, is that the right word? Pushing the women off to their own little mini golf courses or women's days. But at the beginning, they all played together. Now, over the past century here in the United States, golf has been a predominantly manned sport. But over the past several decades, there's been a real move and push to get women to the game of golf. Now, estimates say that there are around 15 million women that play the game of golf around the world. And I've heard one of the coaches that I love to follow mention that the majority of junior golfers getting into the game are girls. About 60% of the juniors coming into his classes are all female. That's pretty great. But golf still has a long way to go when it comes to incorporating women into the sport. The Royal and Ancient Golf Club in Scotland didn't vote to allow women members until 2014, and Augusta National Golf Club didn't allow women until 2012. And Pine Valley in New Jersey didn't vote to allow women until 2021. Now, granted, these are private golf courses and they can choose to do what they want. If they want it to be the good old boys club, be the good old boys club. You know what I think? I think that if anybody out there has the capital and wants to join with me, that we should just do our own women's private club. It can rival Augusta, and you know what? The clubhouses are going to smell and look a lot better. I'm telling you. A lot of the women I speak to today are interested in playing the game of golf, not just for their career move, but to have fun. Now, we need to encourage this more, maybe by having, free ladies' days like they do at bars, or, maybe bringing in some really good-looking guys to serve all of the brunch food and drinks, or to be the caddies for the day. A little Chippendales idea there, maybe. Keep it clean. It's just an idea. It'd be interesting though, wouldn't it? Now the next issue in all of this is race. And this one's going to be a little bit more difficult to talk about. Now, as I said at the beginning, when I'm talking about diversity in golf, I mean in all areas of diversity, not just in race. But here in America, when we talk about diversity, our minds generally go to race. Because of the past sins that America has from slavery, through that came segregation and the Jim Crow laws. Every aspect of our society was touched by this past sin, and golf was not excluded. What I found during my research is that African Americans have been involved in the golf community for an incredibly long time. Dr. George Grant, who was one of the first African American dentists graduating from Harvard Dental School, invented the wooden golf tee in 1899. 3 years prior to that, several players had threatened to withdraw from the second U.S. Open because John Shippen and Oscar Bunn, a Native American, were to play. The president of the USGA declared, "We're going to play this thing today, even if Shippen and Bunn are the only people in it." So in 1921, an African-American owned company purchased a country club and turned it into the Shady Rest Golf and Country Club, the first documented country club owned by African Americans in 1921. In 1937, the Wake Robin Golf Club was founded, the oldest known women's African American club in the United States. And the club is still thriving and encouraging young African American women to join golf to this day. And in 1946, the first golf course designed, constructed, and operated by an African American was built by William Powell, the Clearview Golf Club. And during segregation, the UGA was created by a group of African American businessmen to provide equal access and opportunity to the game of golf. Prior to the 1920s, there were several African American athletes that played on professional sports teams: baseball, football, and golf. The 1930s ushered in segregation into professional sports. But even with this horrible discrimination, it didn't dampen the love of golf within the African American community. And around this time is when you start to see African American leagues springing up all across the country. But even with segregation in the 1930s, by the 1940s, you start seeing baseball having the public pressure to desegregate. Football, which didn't have the popularity of baseball at that time, had African American players up until 1933, until it also segregated. But by 1946, football was fully integrated. But what I found is that unlike baseball and football, professional golf didn't desegregate until 1975. 75, that's what, 30 to 35 years after football and baseball? What took golf so long to desegregate compared to these other sports? Part of me thinks it's because they did not have the public pressure, because let's get real, even now in 2022, golf just doesn't have the same following as other professional sports. So you can imagine back then, the other sports had much more of a public push to desegregate. Now, what's really interesting is that the LPGA was ahead of men's golf when it came to desegregating, with Althea Gibson being the first African-American woman to play on the professional tour in 1964. Now, granted, that was still even, 20, 25 years after the other two sports had desegregated. Did you know this? That in 1990, the PGA Championship was scheduled to be played at a golf course where 2 months earlier, the owner was quoted in a local newspaper saying that his club didn't discriminate except for blacks. It threw the tournament into chaos. Now, the tournament was still held, but most of the major sponsors pulled their funding. Finally, the professional side of golf really had to confront racism within the sport. In 1990, that I really struggle with, and I think that is what helps add to the issue that the general public in the United States carries, that golf isn't diverse. When we know that other sports desegregated decades before golf, that is something that definitely adds to the perception that golf isn't diverse. Now, in this short little video, I can't do the history of racial division within golf justice. There's really great documentaries out there that you can watch that help you learn the history of the racial issues that have plagued golf. One of those is The Uneven Fairways. That is an amazing documentary. It'll help give you a better understanding of history of golf told through the eyes of professional players. And here in Kansas City, the Black Archives of Mid-America is working on a documentary that highlights golf's rich history within the Black community. That's another one that I'm going to put on my list to watch. So now, of course, by the 1990s, you get Tiger Woods to come on the scene. And he is literally the only name that I knew coming into golf, Tiger. He brought a whole new level of love and excitement for the game of golf. He had the perfect mix of talent, athleticism, charisma. He was breaking records on the course and barriers off of the course. He inspired a whole new generation to get into the game of golf. And let's be honest, that is one name that everyone, whether they were a golfer or a non-golfer, knew, including me. Demographics have been changing in golf since the 1990s, and a lot of that was the inspiration that Tiger Woods brought to the game. So when it comes to the statistics in golf, what I found through my research is that on the professional level, only 1% are African American. When it comes to the amateur side, 3% is African American, 18% is of another ethnicity, and the rest are white. Now, to be honest, I really struggle with the statistics that we find online when it comes to amateur golf. I mean, where are they getting these statistics? We're not walking into the driving range or the golf course, writing down on a little card our gender, our age, our ethnicity, our class level, or somebody's standing at the desk writing it down discreetly. Oh, that was a female. She looked to be in her 20s. I don't know where they're getting the statistics when it comes to the amateur level of golf. So I don't know how much faith I actually put in those stats. What about physical ability when it comes to golf? Is there diversity in physical ability, or do you have to be some top athlete to play the game? Well, to be honest, we know that there's a bunch of middle-aged men out there playing, so I don't know how fit you have to be. No offense to middle-aged men. So what I found is that golf is a sport for all physical abilities. The Royal Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews says that golf is a sport for everyone, regardless of age, gender, or physical condition. With organizations like the EDGA Golf that coaches golf to individuals with disabilities, with coaches and players from more than 10 countries, the EDGA helps to develop systems and tools that helps coaches and facilities better serve their clients and enable golfers with disabilities to have a better experience. Their mission is to encourage individuals with a disability to try golf because #golf=happiness. Today, adaptive golfers are sharing their journeys online to help inspire others with great accounts like Marcus Williams, Joaquin Grench, Brandon Senesi. He designed his own golf clubs to allow him to swing with limitations, all the way to Carlos Brown, who's not only an inspiring adaptive golfer, but he's a ranked top golf coach as well. Now, these are just a few of the accounts that are inspiring others to get out onto the golf course. And did you know that there's even the U.S. Blind Golf Association? Since 1953, they've been striving to grow the game of golf for the visually impaired. Golf has always been an adaptive sport, and with the great programs and inspirational golfers sharing their stories, golf can continue to grow as an adaptive sport for everyone. So the picture I've always had of golfers is that, well, they're stuffy, preppy, and country clubbish. But did you know that golf is actually changing? And maybe it was never fully that way to begin with. But with the likes of Roger Steele, who is #making golf cool, I really sound like a dork when I say that. We've got Snappy Gilmore, who one day I am going to hit a shot like he can. And nowadays, dare I even say that golf is even sexy? With the likes of Paige Spiranak, Paige, who is considered the first true golf bunny, all the way to Golf Mommy or Alejandra. Both are showing you that golf is definitely not stuffy and can definitely look very sexy. You know, we all have one of these now. It's made the world a smaller place. We can look into everybody's backyards, we can watch a beginner golfer start their golf journey, and we can all cheer on each other when it comes to the love of golf. You know, being able to see all the diversity in golf through social media has helped change my view and perception of golf. Some of the best accounts I've found that really show the diversity when it comes to golf is Society61. You know what? Do yourself a favor. Just go to Society61, follow them, and then go to who they're following, and then just follow everybody on their list. That will give you the most beautiful view of diversity when it comes to golf. Other great ones to follow are PGA Works, Make Golf Your Thing. That shows diversity within the sport on the coaching level, the professional, and the amateur level. So what have we learned, class? Let's review. Golf isn't for the rich anymore. There's a lot of avenues to be able to enjoy it inexpensively. Gender, well, it's growing when it comes to women, and it has actually always been loved by women. Any age can play golf. Any physical ability we've seen can play golf. And when it comes to ethnicity, well, wonderful people have been working to change that and to change the view of it for decades, and they're doing a great job. Do we still need to grow in these areas and get the word out there that golf is diverse? Absolutely. And there's wonderful people out there doing that. There are people that are trying to make golf cool for a whole new generation. They're trying to break the stereotypes that we have of golf. Do they have a long ways to go? Probably. Because before I got into golf, I definitely still thought that it was a stuffy, preppy, middle-aged white man sport. But now that I've taken the time to actually look into it, I can tell you this, my view is completely shattered. It's going to take a lot of wonderful golf influencers, young, hip, cool. I sound like such a dork when I say that stuff. But it's going to take them really getting out there, getting the word out there that golf isn't like it used to be. The perception is different. Anybody can get out there and enjoy the game of golf. So I'm really excited to be a part of this golf community. It is a beautiful, diverse golf community. Get on social media, get hooked in with other people that play golf, and I am telling you, they will not care about your age, your gender, your ethnicity, your class level, your physical ability, nothing. They will just simply cheer you on, because what I've found is just everyone has a great love for this game when they start getting into it. You know, it's up to each of us to address our perceptions that we have in this world, to find out if our views are true or not. You might just end up being surprised.